Abdul, welcome to Product Growth Stories. I'm so happy to have you on the show, and we're going to dive into your journey co-founding DisplayRide. In 2018, can you give a little overview about what is that product and why did you start that company?
Sure. First, thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you today. So we started DisplayRide primarily to address what we saw was a big issue in the gig economy, and that was around safety. This really focused on the rideshare market, the Ubers, the Lyfts, and others. And the idea was there were far too many safety incidents and with huge consequences. So that was a big problem, and it was difficult to figure out what really transpired and so on. So fundamentally, it was essentially you have two strangers, right, in a rideshare kind of situation, and there are usually some issues, and some issues were very serious as well. But the reality is, you don't really know what truly transpired, and it becomes so difficult. He said, she said, who's got the most compelling way of explaining it is perhaps how it went, and it didn't really serve the cause of justice, and everybody's worried and things like that. And there is a cost, right? Because companies are sued, insurance costs skyrocket, and things of that sort. So we came up with Display to address that issue. So we built a solution called the Rideshare Monitoring Platform, which was meant to monitor everything in real time and essentially do three things. One was to prevent such incidents from happening as far as possible, and if not, at least try to intervene so that if there was at least the emergence of such an event or a potential for such an event, how do you interrupt that so it doesn't escalate? And finally, document everything. So everything is there. There's no ambiguity. And we document in a way that is credible, in that it is not manipulatable by anybody. So it offers a credible view of what really transpired. So we've started that, and it took off. We've got a great response. We have thousands of drivers across the US using it. We evolved beyond rideshare. We also do delivery for delivery customers, but also for other segments like driving schools, non-emergency medical transport, or anything that requires like last mile transportation, which has anything of value and can be subject to any issues, could be used.
So you started out with rideshare, and then you also found like other similar problems across different verticals that kind of share this sort of problem, where you want to make sure you've got documentation and you have something could transpire, you want to have documentation, or there's something really valuable that you need to basically protect. And I'm curious, building that, what was your journey like getting your first, say, 100 users when you first started versus now?
So we were quite fortunate in the sense that I think unbeknownst to us, in fact, somebody actually, I would say an industry influencer actually apparently came about our product, and they spoke about it. And they said, hey, this is what it needed, and so forth. So that generated a lot of buzz and a lot of interest. And we didn't even know of that. So we were getting suddenly calls and stuff like that. So that was pretty good. And it took off from there. Obviously, we had to look more closely to the problem, refine the product and things of that sort. And it was a bit, shall we say, at least we were lucky to get the start that we did. But of course, there's always competition, and of course, we are playing against what I would call as commoditized products. But these were big companies like we have a better product. In fact, we were rated number one in the industry for last couple of years. So we have a better product, but still the sales and marketing component really matters, right? If you don't reach your customer, they may not know of your product. Mm-hmm. However, we're good at it. And also added to that, the complexity of a very fragmented market created a headache, right? The market is not so clean in the sense that you cannot reach the customers in the go-to-market is a little more complex because by its nature, what I call the gig economy, right? The gig economy is people who take up gigs basically randomly. There's no predictable pattern.
Yeah. So you got lucky with influencer mentioning the product. I guess it's not all luck because it has to be a good product for them to want to do that in the first place. But that was a great win at the beginning. What are you doing now to add in to add in more gig economy workers to use this product? Like, how are you reaching them now?
Go-to-market strategy, because they are all over, they're spread over. It could be a student, could be working in the gig economy, a retiree could be, so it's all over the
Mm-hmm.
map. The profile is not very, I guess, maybe. So that makes it a little more complex. So we do try to use multiple ways to reach them. We try to leverage, I think, having these influencers, especially social media influencers, is an important thing because people do listen. As these are new markets which are emerging, I would say. So a lot of things are unclear. The regulations based on state and issues are very peculiar. The industry itself. So there has been a an opportunity for influencers to get in the game and explain, help them navigate through this complexity. And like I said, the gig economy has a very diverse base, right? So they're all made up of like students and
Mm-hmm.
retirees and anything in between. So you have different understanding, different sophistication, all these kind, a lot of immigrants, recent immigrants, and so on and so forth. So it's a very complex thing. So yeah, social media channels probably is an important element. We try to write white papers. Again, all these things we try to simplify things, right? Again, what we've discovered is people's attention spans are dramatically reducing. So if you don't resonate easily, it doesn't matter. That kind of.
Yeah. So are you now working directly to go out and find influencers, or you're like, how does that work?
We are quite well established in our segment, so we do have influencers who are familiar with our product and so on. So from time to time, we try to get involved. Yeah, when we release a new feature or something of that sort, or we have something of value to say, they'll bring us on and we talk about it. But again, these guys are also commercially oriented, so there's a cost involved, right? So it's not just, hey, I'm doing it for the sake of the benefit of the community. So yeah, I think we have to reach more people. That's one thing that continues. Like I said, I suppose maybe it is fair to say that there is no silver bullet
Yeah.
to reach that. So that's the issue. It's there and everywhere, but for us more. The other thing is we are also evolving a little bit in terms of our product. We are generating massive amounts of data on the road. That is, we can collect road imagery in real time. So we know exactly what is happening. We collect millions of images every day, every hour, every month. So that information is vitally important in numerous market opportunities, right? From insurance to, for example, even something as simple as Amber Alerts, so
Mhm.
that sort. We can do that. We're using this data because we know where a vehicle is, things like that. And there is this in car. We've also evolved to using a lot of artificial intelligence. You must have heard, obviously. So we're using a lot of AI, which amplifies what we do and accelerates also.
And then I see you have a partnership with Vodafone, for example. I'm curious, like strategic B2B partnerships, how much has that played into your growth strategy? Is that like a one-off, or is that a significant part of it?
Basically, we have our solution uploads everything to the cloud immediately as it records. It monitors what's happening. It's a bunch of video cameras. It will record and upload to the cloud. So we need a wireless connection, a stable wireless connection, in order to do that. And that's why we partnered with Vodafone outside the US. Vodafone operates mostly outside the US. So that was the idea. So a lot of these carriers don't really have their own products. They literally build products which leverages their infrastructure. So they were, and they have, but what they do have is a massive sales and marketing presence in outside the US, especially. So they would bundle a product and offer it, and there would be since they're such a big organization, they have an opportunity to support and do tech support, all those kind of things. So to your point, they're more like a thing, just one. They're a big partner. Yeah, we're not really engaged so much with them.
Got it. This has been fascinating. I'm curious, what are you most excited about for expanding and growing the Display Ride in 2025? There's so many different companies are tacking on AI or trying to change the strategy. Is that something that you're looking at? Is it even necessary?
Yeah, absolutely. AI is moved from good to have to must have. So it's a default now. If you don't, you just cannot survive. So we're using AI considerably. We are partnering with Google. We are leveraging Google to do a lot of things, even with regards to the thing I told you about safety and all that, right? So we use a lot of Google and AI technology, AI models to, for example, do what's called sentiment analysis, so we can identify the interaction within a vehicle and things of that sort. But beyond that, we are also leveraging AI and identifying. Like I said, we're collecting a lot of public data in real time, so we can identify. And there's so many things happening on the road, right? Anything from traffic patterns to there's a problem, there's the obstruction, there's an accident, there's a stolen vehicle. All these things happen, right? So we are able to leverage AI considerably in that, and that's opening up new market opportunities for us.
And I'm curious, so, as we wrap up, what are you the most excited about for Display Ride's future?
For Display Ride, we want to dominate the segments that we are already playing in, especially for rights and other gig economy workers, because they are underserved, I would say, and people
Hmm.
don't really are very they really get the short end of the stick. So we're trying to help them a little bit with with technology. That's one thing we are excited about. We want to dominate that space and offer value-added service. But beyond that, as I said, we are leveraging this data, and that can create and address problems that didn't were not able to at this moment. We have something called AI agents, artificial agents, which are autonomous entities which are constantly, for example, today, if you a simple example which most of your users would know or your listeners would know is Amber Alert, right? When there's an Amber Alert, you put it on a screen or maybe on your phone. It's a very, and it's best you try to get some opportunity to see where it is. But in our solution, the AI agent is constantly monitoring for any vehicle that is to be looked out for, and they'll immediately in real time notify it without much effort expended, and does not rely on individuals and so on and so forth. So yeah, we have lots of use cases like that, and we're pretty excited because that will transform many industries.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Abdul.